Publishing a book is easy, but preparing a book so that readers easily can find it and marketing it in a way so that people discover it, that is the hard part. You should start by writing the right book, packaging it clearly, making it discoverable, and building reader trust before launch. Then you can publish it. This is something I see a lot of authors making the mistake of thinking that, okay, I've finished the draft, now I'm going to publish it. It's super easy. I'll just do it via Amazon KDP and it's out there. No, you should not do it this way because you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, you need to think a little bit smarter for you to ensure that you have the success that you deserve. Because you've gone really far, you've written the book. So in this video, I'm going to go through the entire checklist that I wish I had when I published my first book. I'm going to teach you where you should start, how you know when your book is finished, things that some authors tend to miss and that are so important that if you miss it, you know, your book won't sell. And stick around to the end because at the end of this video, some of the most important advice are listed. And if you don't know me, hello, my name is Natalie. I'm an author and a growth marketer. I help indie authors finish stronger books and growing an audience without burnout. The first mistake that I see a lot of authors making is thinking that I need to figure out how to publish this book or how to upload this book to Amazon. But that's not what you should be thinking about when your book is finished. Instead, you need to think about who is this book for? This is one of the key insights that you need to know because it will determine so much before you can publish it. If you don't follow this advice, you know, the readers won't find your book because there are so many reader expectations that you need to make sure that you're up to date with and understand. Because as readers, you know, we're lazy. We're bombarded with social media, with other book and book recommendations that you cannot think that you can cut corners or, you know, just choose a pretty cover just because you want to. If the genre does not, you know, does not live up to the expectation of the genre, the readers won't find it. Ask yourself, who is this book for and why would the reader choose it? Because before you even publish on KDP, you should know the genre and category your book belongs in, what kind of what type of reader you're trying to reach, the promise of the book, what's the comp titles for your book are, and what kind of reader expectations that you want to fulfill with it. And the key insight here is for you to understand that your book is not for everyone. It shouldn't be for everyone because if it is for everyone, then it's for no one. So it's really good if you have a specific target audience in mind. For my upcoming romance novel, A New Chapter by the Canal. And yes, I know this is I ordered a proof copy and they forgot the silver title. It is so embarrassing, but yeah. but for this is a romance novel and I know that it's for women from about 30 to 35-year-olds up to 50. Women who want to start, you know, living their dreams. And I have a really specific person in mind when I wrote the book. And you should have that too when you write yours. Or if you don't have it, now is the time to do the research because it's so important. The second thing you should know is that it's so important that you actually finish everything that has to do with your manuscript before you even start stressing about ISBN numbers, which categories, or how to do keyword research for KDP. No, don't worry about that yet. Make sure that you have as good as manuscript as you can. Have you done all the revisions you can? Have you had the book at beta readers? And did you revise the book after you got the feedback from them? Did you have it at an editor? What did the editor say? Did you make all of the changes? And once you've done all the big changes, did you do a line edit? And after that, did you do proofreading? So there are a lot of steps that I see people trying to skip because they think that, oh, but the story is so good that everyone will love it anyways. No, it's super important for you to get some external feedback, for example, because the thing is, we are so blind to our own texts that it's impossible for us to know everything. I do this myself too. I can't see the forest for all the trees. Like, the reason why is also because we have the entire story in our brain. We have all of the different versions of the story in our brain. For this romance novel, I rewrote the ending I don't know how many times, but like, so there are 4 different endings or 5 in my head. So it's impossible for me to like, I know so much more than the reader does. So it's very important to have someone else check that it's as good as it can be. And quality is very important because in the long run, we want readers who keep returning whenever we release a new book. So don't try to like rush your publishing. Make sure that the manuscript is as good as it can be before you move on to the next step. Number 3 is something that I see a lot of authors doing, especially because they get so excited, and I get that. I really, really get that. And here is like, you need to make a budget for your book. You need to decide what you can afford to when you can afford to hire external help and when you can't. But there are some things that you probably should prioritize. For example, is the cover. The cover is one of the key elements of your entire book. It is the thing that will sell your book. It will promote it. It's all the reader expectations is set in the cover. And once again, with my romance novel, I chose. So this is a book that I've written in Swedish, and I'm translating it to English also. But this is the Swedish version of the book. I chose a cover that is much more international than on the Swedish market. On the Swedish market, we have a lot more covers that look very, very similar within this genre. So instead of doing that, I thought that, okay, but because I've seen more and more of these really beautiful painted, what do you say? I've seen a trend where there are a little bit more illustrations on this genre, even in Sweden, but we're not there yet in the Swedish market, though I do think that we are going there. So that is why I chose to actually have a little bit more of an international approach for the cover in Swedish as well as in English, because I think that that will probably prove it for the future, so I don't have to change the cover within a few years, which might happen if I would have chosen to have a different cover for the Swedish and the English version. And I hired an illustrator to do this. And I think that if there is one thing you should pay for, it is probably the cover, because you are not a cover designer. I mean, unless you are a designer, that's awesome. But then you should be a designer for books, because that's a specific skill in itself. You need to understand, once again, genre expectations, these small little things like what kind of fonts are used within the subgenre of this. It's like an entire science, so that is why it's super important to try, if you can afford, to actually hire someone. Don't just make a cover out of Canva. Canva is great for a lot of things, but I don't think you should make your book cover there if you can avoid it. I mean, if you can't afford it, then it is what it is. But know this, because it's super important. I've seen authors who put like all their money on merchandise, getting a nice map and this and that, and then they didn't even hire an editor or a line editor or a cover designer. Like, what? That's a really weird prioritization, because we need to start by making the product as good as it can be. And yes, in this case, your book is a product. So try to think a little bit like a professional or a business person. I know this is scary for us, especially in the beginning when we start our author career, but all of this is things that I wish someone would have told me when I started out. This is why I'm sharing it with you. Number 4 is to think about what your blurb is saying. Your blurb is super duper important. This is not just a summary of what is happening in the book. It is more or less a sales pitch. And don't be afraid of like spoiling what the book is about here. This should have the most important tropes, some conflict. People should be hooked from reading this. And I know a lot of readers who know that, okay, but I love this genre. I love some of the tropes that it indicates that it has. They won't even read the blurb because they don't want to know what happens. That's like not watching a trailer for a movie or a TV show you're excited about watching, which is fine because sometimes in the trailer there are a lot of spoilers. But use this, like do the research and do the heavy lifting in beforehand. Try to make it as perfect as you can. And the way I do this is that I will go into the best-selling books in my genre and look at the blurbs and try to like break it down and see what are the ingredients. Okay, so they will introduce the MC, the main character here. They will say something about the setting. They will say one or two things about the important conflicts. Maybe they will talk about some another character or whatever it is. And I will also see if they talk about the author or not. And here, I mean, I will also look at books that are not super duper popular, because the thing is, like, if I compare myself to Rebecca Yarros or whatever, like, I can't do that. She's super famous. Of course, there will be a short snippet about her being a best-selling author. I'm not there yet, so maybe I should have something else that is related to the book or genre that I'm writing in. But do the research, try to break it down. And if you want me to do a specific video on how to write a great blurb, let me know in the comments, because then I will make it for you. But right now, I'm just trying to go through everything I wish someone would have told me, as I said before. And in the end, like, the description should sell the reading experience, not summarize every event. And at this step, it's time for us to dive in deeper. Now you're actually trying to figure out where to put your book in Amazon KDP. And the one thing that you should do here is to start thinking about the keywords and the categories. And I know this is hard, and I know this is scary, because there are so many categories to choose from, so many keywords to choose from, and like, where to even begin. There are a lot of material out here on YouTube and in other places. If you want me to, I could make an entire video about this topic alone, so I'm not going to deep dive into it. I'm just going to go through the basics so that you understand. KDP allows authors to choose categories and keywords when they set up their books. And according to Amazon, this is how they shelf your book on their website. And there are all kinds of ways to do this in a good way. I personally use Publisher Rocket, so I bought a license for that to help me, you know, make all the research to make sure that I put my books in the right place. But the thing is, I know that I want to have a career in writing long term. I know I'm going to keep on doing this. So for me, it was worth investing in that. But you need to decide if it is for you or not. But you should not choose to have keywords that are like very vague. For examples of this could be book, fantasy, romance, mystery. It should be a lot more specific. Like, if it's a cozy fantasy with dragons, write that. Is it a fantasy dark academia vibe fantasy, like Library of Eternity, write that. You need to be a lot more specific, because there are so many books on this platform and people are looking for super specific niches more and more, because they know what they want. They know they want a dark academia with vampires and shapeshifters or whatever it is. Write that. Make it more specific. This is true in general with SEO right now, because people are searching with the help of AI search, and that means that, you know, they search in a very different way from what they did before. And another thing you should think about when you categorize your book and choose your keywords is if you want to go wide or if you want to put your book in KU. This, for me, depends on the genre I'm writing in a lot. And I also use Publisher Rocket. This is not sponsored by them, by the way, but to see whether or not the genre I'm writing in is popular within KU or not. For Library of Eternity, the book over here, I actually chose to start by going wide. And I did a Goodreads giveaway. I made sure that a few people actually had the book. But after that, after a while, I saw that sales weren't really picking up. And I knew that a lot of readers that like dark academia fantasy have KU. So I switched and now have it on KU. And I've seen that it has started to find some readers. But it's a slow start. Like, it will build up over time. And that is fine by me. But you need to decide where you want to go, because there are specific rules on how you can do it. If you have it in KU, you can't have the ebook anywhere else in that language. So that is very important for you to know. For example, I here in the in Europe, in Sweden, where I live, I also have the audiobooks. And like if I were to have the ebook for that book, I could put the ebook in the audiobook app for everyone to read, but now I can't because I have it in KU. So there are a lot of those things that you need to remember and keep track of if you want to, when you're publishing your book. The next advice is for you to start to build your author platform before launch week. If you stand there on the day when you're publishing your book and you don't even have any sort of platform, then no one will find it. That's just the harsh truth. Like, if no one knows the book exists, no one will find it. It will not automatically, show up at page 1 on the search when someone types in the genre on Amazon. You need to make the groundwork and preferably start before you launch your book. And for your author platform, you don't really need that much in the beginning. So first of all, you need an author website where you have your author name, what you're writing, the books you've written or are writing. You can even write about your work in progress if you haven't published any book yet. And you also need to have a newsletter there. Yes, I know that you've heard this from other people too, but newsletters is one of the most important things when building an audience long term. And from scratch, it's okay if your newsletter is just your mom and your best friend and your best friend's dog. That's fine. Over time, though, it will fill up with more and more people, and you will have a direct way to contact them. If you only rely on social media, even if you have like hundreds of thousands of followers, you never know if your account gets hacked or if they change the algorithm or if the platform gets pulled from the country you live in. You never know those things. So don't only rely on that, please. And another thing you need is, of course, an author bio. What is the mini sales pitch about you? You should also have a professional photo, as professional as it can be. It is okay if you take it with your smartphone at home, but it needs to have professional lighting, professional background. Do some groundwork and make sure that it looks really good. I have one that I took at a photo studio, and a newer one that I actually took myself with remote control photos. So 10 seconds later, yeah, you know what I mean. But I love taking photos and I love making videos, so I have a little bit of an eye for if it's going to work or not. But make sure that you have some sort of professional photo and have that everywhere. You should have that if you have a photo in your book, use that one. When you set up your Goodreads profile, use that one. When you set up your social media, use that one. On your website, use that one. Because when you never know how a potential reader finds you, and wherever they meet you, you should leave the same impression, because that is your brand. That is who you're portraying yourself to be. And that's how you want to be remembered. The same goes for the bio. Like, if you say you write cozy romance, then you shouldn't have a photo where you have black hair and black lipstick and look really grumpy and gothic. Like, that just doesn't add up. So, and even if that is you, then maybe your romance books should have some sort of, I don't know, twist in the cover or like something, so that everything aligns and people can actually understand it. And another thing, like if you have all of this set up, then you have the ground set up already. But after that, you should think about adding some sort of reader magnet and have a plan for getting reviews to your book. That is actually the next step. So getting reviews before your book is published, this is one of the best ways to make sure that people who are considering reading your book actually will choose to read it. You can ask people on your social media platform, hey, I'm looking for ARC readers. You can actually also ask on like TikTok or something like that and get complete strangers to go onto your ARC list. But try to make sure to have some people who will leave reviews before the launch, because that gives you social proof and shows that If someone else likes it, chances are they will like it too. New authors often publish their first book wondering how to get reviews. And the best way to get reviews is actually to start a lot earlier than the launch, because ideally you've already set up your social media presence. You've already started talking about the fact you're writing. You have some potential readers who are following you, but months before you're actually planning to release the book, you should have tried to identify potential readers, prepare advanced reader copies, give readers enough time. So if you're publishing the book a month from now, then send out the ARCs as early as possible, preferably 2 months in beforehand. And I know this is really hard. It's hard for me too, but I do try to do it because it gives so much more when the other people already has reviewed it in advance. You should also try to explain to these people that you are giving free ARC reviews, how much the reviews help, and always follow platform rules. There are different ones on different platforms, so you need to check them out for yourself. And you're not begging other people for reviews. You're just creating a reader path before the book goes live. And the thing is, with ARC readers, usually you give them an ARC for free, an ebook that you send out, and they get a chance to read the book, but they've made no promises that they're going to read it. They have no obligation to actually review it if they don't have time or don't feel like it. Maybe they need half a year to do the read through. You cannot I would say always expect some sort of fallout, like that all of them won't review it or won't tag you in posts and stuff like that, but some of them will, and those are the ones you should be focusing on. And now it's time to actually upload your book. And when you upload your book, you should look at what other people have done before you. Does everyone within your genre have a specific price range? Then you can't have a much higher price or a much lower price. Because if the price is too low, then you're positioning yourself saying, my book is not worth anything. If the price is too high, you're saying, I'm better than everyone else. Or, I don't know, I think I deserve more than everyone else. That's not very nice either. So you should always make sure that you have everything that is packaged as professionally as it can. You need, as I said, professional book cover, a great title, keywords in your head description and text. Made sure that you have it in the right categories. All of these things you should actually do now and set it up in the right way. And a key insight here is that you can always update things later, but do not treat the upload into KDP as something casual. Your book page is one of your key marketing touch points. And last but not least, I just wanted to say the fact that launch week is not the finish line, it's just the start. Whether or not your book launch is a success or not, it doesn't matter. From there, you can go back and iterate. This is how I've built my career. I have looked back and I've learned from the mistakes I've made and become better with each book I launch. And also I see that when I launch a new book, I see that the new readers who read that book, they will go back and read my previous ones too, because they like the way I write and my style. So also with each new launch, you have the potential to become better at marketing yourself, but also at reaching new readers and all those things. So don't get discouraged if launch doesn't go as perfectly as you wished it to, and try to learn each and every single time and each and every single day, and keep on talking about your book and marketing it, because it will be new to some readers even if you published it 10 years ago. So the takeaways I want you to have from this video is the fact that you should not start with uploading, you should start with a reader. Your book needs to be finished, revised, and tested before you invest heavily in publishing. A good cover isn't just pretty, it tells the reader this book is for you. Your book description should sell the reading experience, not summarize the plot. Keywords and categories helps Amazon understand where your book belongs. And KDP Select is a strategic choice because it requires digital exclusivity during the enrollment period. Marketing should begin before your launch week, and reviewers is so crucial for selling you more books. If you're self-publishing your book in 2026, I would not rush to upload. I would make sure that the book is reader ready, packaged genre clearly, and that the book page is searchable. Also try to make sure that you have some sort of review plan in place and that the launch has somewhere to send people, because self-publishing is not just about getting books online. It's about giving your book the best chance to get discovered, trusted, and read. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.